Yesterday, the Swiss public radio station SRF published an article about the increasing amount of Anglicisms in Swiss German. The title comes with an intended irony. Knocken Anglizismen die Mundart aus? In English, are the Anglicisms knocking out Swiss German? You probably recognize knocken being an Anglicism here. The author says, especially in certain areas, you can't get around the English expressions, like in IT, in working out, as well as in banking and finance, and so on. He goes on putting it into perspective. Since it only concerns certain areas, those Anglicisms usually just stay there and won't find their way into our everyday language. And he asks, you wouldn't call your Abwart a facility manager, would you? I want to quickly comment on that. This is not a very good argument to make. Some time ago, nobody would have imagined cool to become a commonly used German word. Or Team, Trend, Fair, Test, Hot Dog, and so on. The list is long. And the only reason I can think of why facility manager probably won't suppress Abwart is because it's longer. But what about janitor? The article goes on saying that actually it's not that bad. It's primarily the young folks who use the Anglicisms. Also, it's always the same positions where words are replaced, so new Anglicisms basically replace old Anglicisms instead of still used German words. I mean, that's partly true. There is a tendency to do so. I still drop several cools, whereas today's teenager probably say lit. But on the other hand, the older generation says Fälschung to what I call a fake, or Veranstaltung to what I call event. Yes, there is a tendency to swap certain Anglicisms with new ones, but I'm pretty sure the amount of Anglicisms themselves is increasing exponentially due to increasing interconnectedness. For example, I don't know where VR is going, but I own an Oculus Quest and I have used several social apps like Altspace VR and VRChat. And though you do stumble upon some people talking to each other in Chinese or Japanese, the absolute majority of the conversations are held in English. So, as more people use VR, even non-English natives will be forced to speak English if they want to participate in most of the conversations. Of course, also the amount of people speaking other languages will increase. But till to that point, this will very much benefit English to be a transnational and transcultural language. Even the people who initially don't speak English can't help to hear it and eventually get familiar with it. So people outside of an English native country are not dependent on whatever words are served to them on TV or radio anymore, but they will increasingly pick words from their online conversations with their friends from Felisburg, Auric, Preston or Castletown beer and implement them into their own speak, because they actually use them in real conversations. The author concludes that after all, it's only 3.5% Anglicism so far, and many of them are fully implemented, so you don't even recognize them anymore, such as sandwich or bus. He obviously doesn't seem to know where he's heading to. To summarize what he's written so far, there are many Anglicisms, but actually not. And above all, you don't even recognize them all anymore. He doesn't even realize that his own last argument proves him wrong already. I find 3.5 much. Maybe it's a low number, but imagine that amount of foreign words in English. I took a random sample of an article from usatoday.com and changed 3.5% into German words. New York. The Justice Department is asking to take over President Donald Trump's defense in a defamation lawsuit from a writer who accused him of Vergewaltigung. And federal lawyers asked the court Tuesday to allow a move that could put the American people on the hook for any Geld she might be awarded. After New York State Gerichte turned down Trump's request to delay E. Jean Carroll's suit, Justice Department lawyers filed court papers aiming to shift the case into federal court and to substitute the US for Trump as the defendant. That means the federal Regierung, rather than Trump himself, might have to pay damages if any are awarded. The move to einzugreifen is in keeping with the Justice Department that time, and again has advanced the broad vision of executive power and has moved to shield Trump from legal exposure, most notably by arguing that actions taken to choke off the Russian investigation fell within the scope of his constitutional Behörden and were therefore permissible. In 3 paragraphs, those 3.5% were 6 words which I could change into German words. I picked 2 from every paragraph. Of course, I'm aware that usually not all the 3.5% come into play, but yeah, I just wanted to illustrate my point. And now, what do you think? How would it feel to use so many German words? Would you consider it weird, bad, good? Well, here we are used to it, to be honest. I was used to it already when I got my Game Boy as a child. Imagine the teens from today owning an Instagram or a TikTok account. I wonder where we are in 15 or 30 years. I really do, and I'm looking forward to it.